Radio Bypass, bringing you rock and roll music that deserves to be heard. Discover new bands. Here's some old favorites on Radio Bypass.
Hey, gang. We are back with a good friend of the show, our brother Mike Mostert from the band In Theory, coming to visit us on the heels of a brand new single that you would have heard on our music show last week or the week before. Killer track once again. Mike, you and Tony knocking it out of the park. In Theory, rocking with Staying on My Soul. It was so great to hear another song from you guys.
I appreciate it. Thanks again for having us on the show. And again, you were one of our early supporters and always had great things to say about the band. So, it's deeply appreciated.
Well, you know it. You're welcome here anytime. Always a pleasure to have you and or Tony. You guys are always welcome to come by.
Tony guy.
Yeah, Tony blew us off tonight. Oh, well.
Only the lead singer.
But no, really, the new song's smoking, and I'm so happy that your supporter list is not just this guy and Patrick Calamari. The word is spreading, and more people are finding out about the greatness that is In Theory. And my understanding is even Alice Cooper is now aware and playing the In Theory band, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Alice Cooper got behind the single and helped catapult the single out. And from that, I think now maybe we're at 200 stations, and you'll see it probably by the middle of next week or the week after. We'll probably be up to about 400 stations as well. So it is growing quicker than we thought on this one. So, but I think we did it right, with this song. It was the right song at the right time. Even the way we wrote it, it's just like the perfect song that will, have in a way a foot, I call a foot in classic rock, foot in active rock or new rock. It's has a perfect blend, and it's, I call it, while it's a rocking song, when you get that chorus, it's so catchy. You're singing it after the song ends, and it's one of those songs.
Yeah, for sure. And your opening riff, maybe one of my favorite ones yet from you too. I love the way the song opens. And it's pretty cool. Was that beautiful guitar in your hands part of this song?
This one, no. This one came after. But I did play on that song a 69 gold top. This one's a 57. This is my number 257. Just recently got her in. So
gotcha.
But so on that recording, it's a 69, and then I also use a sawtooth Les Paul as well, as for add a different color of tone. But the main guitar is a Gibson 69 Les Paul Deluxe, and it has all the weather checking. It has the green thing, but the wood from that era, like, you can't duplicate. It just has, that guitar has magic in it. And but I'm glad you like the riff. That riff was whatever you want to call it. I was going to say the word interesting, but it wasn't interesting. When I first came up with it, like how we have a process, I'll come up with a guitar riff and I'll send it to Tony, and then I've added a few other people to the list that are not musicians, and that's key as I'm moving forward, because I think as musicians, sometimes we're listening as musicians and we're too critical. And so I'm like, if a fan is loving it, that loves In Theory, I'm not changing it. If I play it for them, they're like, it's kind of cool. I know I didn't do the right riff. It's as basic as that. So when I first came up with the riff, it was slightly varied, and I sent it out, and even Tony was like, yeah, it's cool. And a few other people were like, that's cool. And that's not the reaction I wanted. So that night, I spent maybe 7-8 hours, even though it's a short little riff, fine tuning that guitar riff. And then when I went into the studio the next day, it was there. It was on fire the next day.
Nice. And did the same folks have a different reaction?
Oh yeah, when they heard it, they were like, "Oh my God!" They have no idea. In a lot of ways, they think it's the same riff. And but the very next day was like, "Oh my God!" And same thing with Tony when I sent it to him. Tony's a very good, works off of intuition and passion. He has to feel it. And the updated version, he just jumped on it. And so the reaction was quite different in one day's time.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, and I know you put a lot of care into everything you do musically. So I can just picture you woodshedding like, okay, what can I do to make this even stronger? But you did the right thing for my ears.
I had to figure out what's wrong with this thing that I'm hearing that these people are not hearing. And then, like I said, I just fine tuned it and I do it in a very primitive way. I put my iPhone out and I record everything. I put it on video mode and just put the phone facing the table and I'll play the riffs. That's how I write almost all my songs. Mm-hmm. And then when I get back on an iPhone, if it's good to me, then I move forward with it. If it's not good, it just stays on my iPhone.
And maybe it'll sound good to you the next year or something, though. As long as you don't lose them.
Or many times I'll listen back, maybe 6 months later, 9 months later. I'm like, oh, I like that riff, but let me invert it, or let me play it faster, or let me add a different note. So that's why I never throw out any idea on my phone. And I had that philosophy of there must be a reason why I liked it initially. So while it may not be perfect, I'm going to save that riff.
Yeah, you should. There's nothing wrong with that. Because I even me, just as a music fan, sometimes I'll hear a song and I'll be like, it's okay. But hearing it repeatedly, all of a sudden I hear it differently, right? So it's got to be the same thing as a musician. It might sound one way to you today. After some time, it sounds different to you. I don't know how else to explain it, but just repeated listenings, or maybe the mood you're in, or what's happened in your life since the first time and now this time.
All those things, you could have had a day of no sleep. You could have had, a bad day, or every day you're not the same.
Right.
When you're listening with different ears and in a different perspective, then you're hearing it like, oh my God, oh yeah, this is cool. I'm going to do this with this thing.
Right. Right. And hopefully it works that way most of the time, rather than when you listen to it later after you thought it was good and you say, oh man, this sucks.
It's a weird thing to say that, but rarely do I go back and say it sucks. If anything, I'll go, let me tweak it. Or I'll do something like, what, if I do a little bit behind a beat, or double time it here, or drag it here, but speed it up on this part. That's a big part of my process. Like you said, I'm quite detailed and meticulous in and how I approach things. But once I believe in a riff or a song, like I chase that rabbit hole until I find it's right.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, fierce determination with you.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, right, exactly. So great tune. I'm going to add it to the end of this interview too. So if any of you guys didn't hear the music show, you'll hear the song again today. And I know we've had In Theory on a few times, but guys, it just keeps getting better. And that's something that keeps standing out to me too, Mike. Every time you guys have a new thing that I get to hear, I just see constant progression with you guys. It's really fantastic. You and Tony probably have one of the best partnerships musicians could hope for. I think you're freezing up, buddy.
Oh.
Yep, I just got a still picture of you not hearing you. Uh-oh, did my internet go out? Stand by, everybody.
Yeah, you are.
Yep.
Well,
Yep. It must have been my internet. I'm going to have to do some editing here. Remember, I was telling you it's been weird today.
so yeah, so I was hearing what you're saying. So yeah, there is always. I feel that the band's just it's like the tip of the iceberg of what we're doing, the sound that we're developing, and I do hear whatever progression that we are getting better. We're expanding. All those words above. And
Right.
and Tony and I just keep challenging ourselves just to get better and not necessarily let's get it different. This let's I don't know just just want to keep growing. Just like Zeppelin won it till the last record, or Beatles Hard Day's Night till their very last record. You hear a growth, and I think that's what you're picking up on. So and it's also I think the more that you do it, the better you get at anything, right? So
Yeah.
hopefully, and so in our case, we're definitely, for lack of better words, we're getting better and better at it, and I really feel like sky's the limit with us. It just feels to me like we've only hit the tip of the iceberg of how big this band's going to be and how impactful the music will be, and I truly believe that. Especially because there's already another 6-7 tracks already done and mastered that we haven't released yet, and I'm always constantly writing. So yeah, we're looking forward to growing and hopefully you keep liking those opening guitar riffs.
I'm sure I will. I've obviously had the pleasure of seeing you play live too, and yeah, it's just great. And you just recently had a live show. You guys got out just very recently with another guy that we both know, Jared James Nichols. I'm sure those jams were epic with you two guys.
That was insane to play Jared. With Jared, we ended up doing. He sat in with In Theory, the 2 songs, but we did an amazing version. And one of these days we'll release the full thing, or maybe on YouTube or something. But it was, I have to say, probably one of the most powerful versions I ever heard of War Pigs.
Oh, cool.
The hour of Jared and I running through our 4x12s, cranking it up. And then on top of that, Tony did the Rival Sons version of the melody. So he went off a little bit off the melody, and the place just went crazy, and then on top of that, Jared and I just teed off on both solos, and epic is probably a good word for how that song came out. And then we ended up doing, I think, an Aerosmith song as well, and then I sat on Jared and did a couple of Jared tunes as well. It was him and I. And it's two guys with guitars, and
yeah,
it was good.
That's awesome. I want to hear this War Pigs, man.
I think I have to do it just because epic is a great word, and the reaction of the crowd, they went absolutely crazy.
I bet, because I'm hearing in my head, besides the greatness on the guitar side of it, just picturing Tony singing that song, just hearing his voice in my head, it's got to be pretty epic. All right.
If you can picture, Jay from Rival Sons on steroids, that would be Tony that night. And, I was really proud of him. Like he just, and he just killed it. We always talk about the guitars and, Mike and Jared and stuff, but yeah, like Tony just killed it. And then, on top of that, I was extremely proud of the band. I mean, Brian on drums and Rez on bass, they were on fire when I hear the tracks, and where the microphone was in the video was perfectly placed. It almost sounds as good as a recording.
Really?
And I crank into my car, and it's at the levels of how I would record in the studio. And I'm listening back to my band, and like, they were on fire, so everybody was just on fire, and the power that you feel from it is second to none. I mean, seriously, there's second to none.
That's awesome. Well, I hope you guys line up a whole string of shows so that we can all get a chance to see this band.
Well, it's coming. I think it looks like we have a string of shows starting September 22nd. So we start off, I think, playing in Savannah, Georgia. And then we have some more shows that we're going to end up in Huntsville, Alabama as well. And then I think we have it's either a 2-week run or 3-week run starting the 18th or 19th of October. So you'll see us if you're anywhere from Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, maybe South Carolina, Tennessee. You'll see us. And then, and I'm sure you'll see us on the West Coast sooner than later. All I can say is there's so many things that are in the works, and you know how it goes, negotiations of stuff. And I know 2024 is already being mapped out for festivals, for Europe, and the bands that they're going to be pairing us up with. Again, I can't reveal as much as I would love to, but it's going to really put us in front of a huge audience, and I really think 2024 will catapult In Theory. Awesome.
It's the year of In Theory, baby.
Right.
That's awesome. Oh, I'm really happy for you. That's great.
Thank you.
I always think of you as one of the hardest working guys in music too, because you juggle so many other careers along with your music. So it's good to see it paying off.
Yeah, I get that a bit. I just go. I think if I think about it, all the things I have to do, I probably wouldn't get nothing done. So every day I just go forward. I work and I thank God. I mean, thank God. I thank God. I thank my dad. Thank God. His work ethic by example from when I was a little kid was drilled into me. And not that I'm necessarily emulating him, but my family came from nothing and worked really hard and never made excuses and had the greatest attitude. And so, I'm just following really my family's footsteps, but my main focus is the music.
Right.
So I don't. When I take a step back, I do realize, I do all these things, but when I'm in the moment day to day, I don't really feel like I don't feel like I do enough.
Interesting. Do you ever sleep? You probably don't do that enough.
That will be an ongoing battle for the rest of my life. Sure. Yeah.
So you got that thing plugged in or what?
No.
Yeah.
I
keep seeing you holding that, and I'm like, man, maybe you want to play something for us.
This one, I got this as my backup for the show with Jared, because this one's I call it the penny for my dog, right? So this is, you always have to name your guitar after a woman, except my number one, which is my other gold top that you see in the Stain video. I'm not sure if you got a chance to see that Stain for My Soul video.
I have not seen it yet. Video I still have to do.
YouTube, and that one's that one's blowing up on YouTube as well. But but on that one, originally I was going to use that guitar as the prop for the video. I want a gold top, and I was playing at rehearsal in Nashville, and I have my other main guitars I'm playing on, and I broke a string, and I picked up that one that I used in the video. From the first chord out, I'm like, oh, this guitar has magic. And from that day on, I never wavered from that guitar. And I kept the heavier gauge strings. It's so opposite of what I used to play. So where I had the lighter gauge, I had the flatter radius, so it made doing a lot of faster stuff way easier. That guitar, it doesn't, but the tone on that guitar is second to none. There's magic there's magic in the wood in the builder. Like they always say, you want. I'm not sure if you ever heard the expression, but they always say you want a Wednesday guitar.
No, I've not heard that expression.
When they're like when they're building guitars, if it's built on a Monday, they're not putting their heart into it, so to speak. They're getting in, they're getting their week started. Friday, they're ready to go home, so they're not as focused. But Wednesday, during the week, they're on a roll of building. So they always said try to get a Wednesday guitar. So I have a feeling that one was a Wednesday guitar. But yeah, the tone on that Gibson Gold Top is just magic, and I'm trying to break this thing out. That's why I have it out, just to wear it in, and it doesn't play as good as my number one yet, but I put a lot of miles on my number one over, a 7-month period. So it has all my DNA on it, and it's become an extension of myself. And
right.
So now I need to do this with this one, break this one in, and then go back to my number one. But I am waiting for Gibson's making me another custom shop, which is a Gold Top. It's going to be aged, but it's going to be double aged, so you can see the green and the checking.
Uh-huh.
But that one, I put custom buckers, so it'll have a higher output than these. I'm having an ebony fingerboard opposed to a rosewood, and then the appointments will be different on the neck as well. On the headstock, so it'll look like a custom from the top, but the rest of it will be almost like
traditional. Yeah.
Standard. And they say it's 11-month wait on that. Right now we're probably on month 5, so hopefully
end of the year.
By the next single in our next interview, I'll have my next custom.
Perfect. Well, that's cool. I look forward to seeing that. You got a nice collection though already, just with your number one, and this guy looks pretty nice too.
Yeah, and I'm sure if you saw my one of a kind Gibson Firebird.
Did you have that with you? No, I don't think you did play a Firebird. No, I don't think I have.
That one it's a beautiful guitar. It's green sparkle, ebony fingerboard, so it's like a Firebird 5. So
you just recently posted a picture with that guitar.
It doesn't do justice, and I was lucky enough to get featured in like a lifestyle magazine. They did a story about me and that guitar, finding your dream guitar, and those pictures just came out amazing with this photographer Robert Rausch. If you don't go there, look at his magazines or his photos for the guitar, he does such amazing work. So but he was able to capture it. It was really cool, and went all over the world as well. And there's other things that's happening with that guitar and that magazine. And
I did see the pictures. Very pretty.
So yeah, that was the first one. But I'm so nervous to take it out. And it's funny that you mentioned it, because I get people that like always go, "You're the guy with the green guitar." And even that night when I played with Jared, people were disappointed I didn't bring my green guitar. But I'm so nervous to bring that thing out. I don't want to scratch on it. I don't want, the belt buckle doing anything to it.
Right.
And, and when I play, especially with the band, I play hard. I put my heart and soul into my playing. I mean, you feel every note, you feel every strum.
Yeah.
And, like I said, it's just, it becomes, what do you call it, an extension or an appendage, an extra appendage from yourself. Because I really feel like your soul is coming through the body of the guitar to this neck and back and forth. So, but I'm very nervous to bring that one out.
Yeah, well, that's all right. You can't play them all. There's nothing wrong with keeping it in pristine condition.
But in the studio, I used it. So there's 2 songs that I used it on. And what I discovered, if you take a Gold Top and you take the sound of Firebird and you put them together, it's I don't want to say magical, but wow, the tone combined with both is ridiculous.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, well, you should have nice guitars because you sure know how to play them. That's for sure.
I appreciate that. I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress.
Well, we all are for all of our lives, right? So that's good. So, all right. So we've got lots of good feedback on Stain on My Soul, which, guys, you'll hear that shortly. I know you got a lot of things cooking for 24. Will we hear another song still in 23 coming out from you guys?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're going to release one more single. We're planning probably end of September or early October. It's just Tony and I have to really sit down and decide which song to pick.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, because they're so drastically different from each other. It's like picking a favorite kid at this point.
Right.
They all make a different statement. So we're trying to decide what's going to be our next statement for In Theory.
Gotcha. Well, you guys will arrive at the right decision. I have no doubts.
What was that?
I said, I know you guys will arrive at the right decision. I have no doubts.
Yeah, I'm sure that Tony and I will argue about it.
Brothers do.
That's right. He's my brother in arms in this, and but the thing is, like Tony and I, how we feel about the bands. If it's not, or our songs, I should say, if we're not happy with it as a team, it never gets released anyway. But we're happy with every single song. It's just deciding on what statement we want to make.
Right. Yeah, I get that. My internet is saying it's unstable again. We're still connected, so we're good. Wait. I guess maybe this is the universe telling me to wrap things up. So, what else? Is there anything that we need to know? Since you dropped in here, I'm so happy to have you come by. What else should we know?
Really, just if you can just follow us on Spotify, follow us on our website. There's so much new info. We keep adding songs. You can actually hear, I think, 9 songs, now on our website.
And that's intheoryoriginal.com, right?
Original.com. Go to Spotify, follow us. Again, even on that, you'll see tour dates. Follow us on tour. I mean, we're going to start touring at the end of September. And, just follow us and keep supporting us, and they will not be disappointed.
That I can attest to. Even though I haven't gotten to see this band live, but I just know it. Just from knowing you and Tony and knowing what my ears hear when I hear the music, I have no doubt. So yeah, guys, if you're lucky enough to be in an area that's convenient to go see In Theory, definitely check them out. And maybe 2024, we'll see another fall record from In Theory.
I would not be surprised. Like I said, we have enough tunes already, but like how you said earlier, I mean, I'm that workaholic guy, so it's very important to me to keep writing as well and recording in the studio as we're getting prepared to go on tour. So I never shut that off. So I wouldn't be surprised that we have 2 records worth of material done by the end of the year.
I would not be surprised either.
So, yeah, we just have to decide. There's a lot. Like I say, there's a lot of things, a lot of offers, a lot of opportunities, and we just have to really sit down with our team and really decide what's going to be right for us long term. Sure.
Well, having Alice Cooper like the music, that's a good move right there for the long term.
Yeah, and I think you'll find there's some other surprises of bigger artists or iconic artists that will be supporting the band and playing the band and being part of the whole camp, In Theory camp. And you'll see that sooner than later.
Awesome. All right, guys. Well, this is Mike Mostert right here from In Theory. You guys should know the band by now, but if you don't, you got to pay attention and go to intheoryoriginal.com and stick around right now for the latest killer track from these guys. People that do know the band, I've seen a lot of times mentions of the swampiness of the music. I've seen mentions of a Soundgarden sound because of the way Tony's voice is. But really, In Theory Original is a great name for their website because they really are original, even though you do hear those influences in the music. So check out the latest from In Theory coming up right now, Staying in My Soul. Mike, thanks for dropping by and catching up with us. Always a pleasure to have you.
And again, I appreciate everything you've done for us, Ralph. And, we hope, that you get to see us live soon, so.
I'm booking my plane ticket soon. There you go. All right, guys, here it comes. Staying on My Soul.